Hello everyone, this is the second video on this in the series. Thought I'd make a quick update because the first one was getting a lot of traction and a lot has been done since the first video. I am racing this year, so let me explain. So starting off at the very back here, very farthest point, you may notice that this is the factory flap, but that's not factory. That is a standard required by our racing administration for spikes, because when you put spikes on the track, you don't want them flying out and hitting the guy behind you. If it looks like it's not sturdy, I can pick up the whole sled by it. I'm not going to, because the skis are currently disconnected, so I don't want the whole thing toppling over. Don't mind the stickers there, the ugly looking sticker. It's all going to get taken off, and all of this is going to be polished. Also, I got a little thing coming right there. It's going to go right in this area here. Obviously, all these parts are not going to be here, but moving on, you can see that I still got some fabrication to do back here. Just a little plate I want to cover that area. The reason that's not just covered by a factory thing is because I lowered the seat about 3 inches. I took it off, lopped off 3 inches off the bottom, and reformed the bottom to the seat pan to fit over the heat exchanger. Works perfect, and it's 3 inches lower. It lowers the whole look of the sled. It makes it look quite a bit sleeker, in my opinion. I don't remember exactly what I showed in the first video, so if I repeat stuff or if I show stuff again, I don't mean to. But I saw it was getting some traction, so I thought I'd make an update. I changed the original gas tank to a 7-quart Walbros oval track racing tank. What's nice about these is they're fat up here, but skinny down here. And the reason being is if you go left, all the fuel comes this way, but because it's skinnier, it's compressed, and so it fills up this area more than it would if this was straight across. So the volume is more compressed into this area, meaning that it's more dense, allowing the fuel pickup line to never be, what's the word? Starved of fuel. So that's the reason they look like this. That's the reason they're angled like that. Let's see. Oh, quick tip for any Kawasaki people. I don't know if it applies to other sleds, though. If they have the heat exchanger pipes going underneath where the original gas tank went, then this will apply to you. What I did is I got a 7-quart tank with a 10-quart bracket through Walbros. They'll even message you and say, did you mean to do that? And you say yes, because what that does is it gives you a already manufactured distance from the bottom of the tank to the bottom of the bracket. So this usually would be taken up by the 10-quart tank, but because it's a longer one, it extends past and allows you to go over these without manufacturing your own bracket. I did put a brace bar underneath the tank to hold the tank so it's like nicely set in there. Everything's dusty, you can see. I haven't been able to work on it. I've been doing a school a lot lately, so I just got off for winter break and the crunch begins. But more videos are definitely going to be coming of me tuning it and getting this sled ready. You can see I tidied up the wiring because I didn't like how it looked. Also leading into the next part I'll show you here in a second. This is just a fuel line I ran out of the top of the tank, and then also I ran a rubber grommet so it didn't vibrate on this aluminum plate that I replaced the gas tank with. The gas tank would usually sit right here. I didn't like the way that it looked. I didn't like the way that it leaked. And it just, I didn't like it. So I got rid of the original gas tank, which left a big old hole, and I didn't like the look of that, so I replaced it with a new aluminum plate. I just basically did CAD with cardboard aided design, and made my own plate. All the way over here to the left, you have the ignition, the fuel shutoff, the fall-off kill switch, and this is the new oil viewer. If you look on the factory Kawasaki sleds, they have them a little bit over here on the side of the tank. And I wanted that because that's my oil injection viewing. It works perfect. It's perfect, except for it leaks out the bottom here. And so I'm just going to fix that before I go on to the... which, I mean, is expected because I don't have a clamp on there or nothing. It's just press fit. I like the look of it, though. I think it looks pretty cool. I don't know the word for it. Let's see what else. Oh, big update. So these bars are the angled 90s. That's what I call them anyways. They're the most designed ones off of Walbros. You're gonna hear that name a lot because they have everything for these sleds, and so the only place to buy it besides maybe Dennis Kirk, but Dennis Kirk doesn't really have that much stuff. in my opinion. So this, or we'll start all the way over here, because, yeah, this is a billet throttle block. I replaced the original one, not because it was broken, but because I didn't want a failure during a race. You can buy the parts for these. You can't buy the parts for the Kawasaki ones, the factory ones. So I'm just trying to think ahead here. This throttle cable here is a factory throttle cable, but it's a mashup of all the ones I had, which is three total cables. It even looks like it's coming out a little bit there. I'll have to fix that. Sorry, that was a bad angle. Looks like it's coming out a little bit. You can see. Sorry about the mess in the background, guys. I literally just got done cleaning the shop, and so there's some stuff I need to throw away before it looks completely clean. In the center here, I don't know if you've seen this before. This is a riser I did, a 2-inch riser. It's to make these bars fit so that they clear the dashboard. And then this is just a factory Polaris triple clamp. I don't know what it's called, but I needed it because I had to make something fit on there. That was the very first welding project I ever did, and you can see my welds. They're not the best. They're a little ugly, but they'll do the job. I've lifted the whole sled by this. I've thrashed it around. I wanted to test it before I put my fate in it. So I'm going to definitely finish welding that. I mean, it's all finished, but I'm going to make sure everything's finished before I paint it and do everything like that. Now on to the biggest part. If you're a Kawasaki fan, you know what these sleds are. You're going to notice that this is not factory. This is not even close to factory. Obviously, Polaris is not Kawasaki, but hydraulic brakes is also not Kawasaki. These came factory from 77 to 83. These came with disc brakes that were cable operated, not hydraulic operated. And one of my previous videos, I made a cable operated curved lever, and it worked great. But I wanted the hydro brakes. I've always wanted hydro brakes, and so I went for it. I didn't really find much information on it, except for a couple pictures. And even that was not very much information. So I took a factory Indy Polaris Master. This came from like the 80s to the 90s on those sleds. And then this is off of Walbros. It's just a 90 left-hand brake lever billet. Really nice. It does the same job as mine did, except for it's just made for these, so I didn't have to remake one. That is fed into a braided cable, which I'll show you where that goes here in a second. Up on the dash, you're going to see that I have a Bosch temp gauge. That's just because I didn't like the look of the old one. It had a red wire that you can't really do anything with because they're mechanical. I was going to go electrical, but why would you do that when you can just... I don't know. Anyways, just factory RPM and mile per hour. RPM is definitely going to get changed here in the future. At factory, they're good, but at anything more than factory, they can be jumpy, and they're a little hard to read. So for tuning clutches, it's really important to have good RPM gauge or tachometer. All the hardware I replaced with some nice... I mean, these ones are over-tightened. I don't know. I must have over-tightened them just recently, but like I said, I haven't worked on the sled in a bit. I've all replaced these because I didn't like the look of the old ones. I'm going for perfection with this sled, and it might not look like it's all that clean right now, but when it's all done, you better believe me. You'll see. It'll look very clean. Subscribe to the channel so you can see that when I update you guys with it. I replaced all of these. These were all flatheads. Whoever invented flatheads needs to be sentenced to a prison cell with just rounded off flatheads, and they can get out when they finish. Anyways, I have a thing against flatheads. I hate them. Anyways, but I replaced all of them with flatheads with rubber washers behind it. I'm probably going to put some sort of metal washer too because I want the rubber washer to be squished equally. Besides that, that's all for the dash. This braided. Let's show you where it goes. It goes down to here. This is the master cylinder. It's also off of Polaris Indy. I bought it all as one thing. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to it. If you guys want to see how I made this bracket and all this, I'm going to be taking this off here soon, so I might make a video on it if you want. If not, then, I mean, I'll just put it back on when I'm done cleaning it. I think it looks nice. This piece was hard to make, for sure. But with the radiator on, it covers this, so all you see is that from the outside. And I say that looks pretty factory, but you can see it was quite a challenge to get it in there. But I can make a video on that if you want. So I'm gonna get cut off here in a second, but I'll be right back. with you. Okay, we're back. So, what else? Oh, okay. On the back here, you're going to see a little thing I made. This is for the pull rope to go over because I had to reroute it. You can see the clearances. Again, like I said, everything on this having to do with this brake thing was clearance to the max. You can't really see it, but back there, that rope barely sneaks past the master, or the brake caliper. So it does do it though, and I've had it all together, and it starts just fine. This is ugly, obviously. All of this is ugly because it hasn't been finished yet. I put a new Mikuni fuel pump on there, double fuel pump. And you see all this wiring. It gets all tucked away nice. I had to rewire some of it, but when I took the motor out, I took apart some of the wiring, and I'm just cleaning it up because I didn't like how the end result was. This sled, I want to be very nice. I want it to be start up every year, do very minimal maintenance on it, and just go and race. And that's everybody's dream, but we'll see. As you can see, there's no engine in here. Well, that is because I put this in, and this sparked the whole thing to take out the engine. And it's a darn good thing I did too, because it turned out I had a bad head gasket leak. I'll show you here in a second. And also, I want to get rid of all this rustiness. I must have missed it when I first came back. Man, this camera makes this look dirty in here. It does not look like this. It's just very dusty. This right here, I replaced the bottom rubber bushing because you can't buy anything for those rubber bushings, but I did find a top bushing. This is just the top steering bushing off of another sled. You can see it there. I transferred it down to here, and I had to make a plate with some nuts welded on the back so that I could screw it on, or so I could bolt it on. Came out pretty good, actually, and it has no slop, and that was the biggest thing. A lot of what I'm doing right now is just tidying up things. With race stuff, you want everything to be as tight as possible, and this steering was horrible. I mean, you had like 3 inches between the skis that you could spread them equally, or individually, so it was horrible. Moving on from that, this throttle cable, like I was saying earlier, is the combination of 4 throttle cables altogether. Or three throttle cables altogether. As you can see, there's no engine in here. I'll throw a picture of the sled with the engine in it, just so I have some proof that it was all together. Without the engine, though, there's a reason. It's because of that steering bushing, but it's not in again because it's all over here, and it's disconnected, or disconnected, obviously. It's disassembled, and the reason being is the heads are out for machining right now. They were warped a little bit on the bottom, and I also wanted to shave them down a bit. So I think we're taking 20 thou off. I don't know. I'm not positive on what we're taking off yet because we haven't talked about it. We're actually talking about it tomorrow. But I'm getting those done, and then I'm also getting them matched to the top of the pistons. These are SPI pistons that I put in, and I want the dome matched so that it makes perfect volume, compression, whatever it does. I'm not a professional on it, but I will be by tomorrow, hopefully. Besides that, nothing really is getting done to the engine. I do have to figure out something because, actually, maybe somebody in the comments knows. I'm putting 36 mils on here, and the problem with them is that they have this engine has a 15-degree tilt, and with that 15-degree tilt, it overflows. So if anybody knows how to solve that, I would love to hear it down in the comments. That'd be great. If not, I'm just going to have to figure something out. I think I'll probably 3D print some brackets and just make my own 15-degree anti-tilt thing. With the engine, there's nothing else really to it. Moving on from that. Oh, what was I going to show you? Let's see here. All that I covered. Oh, you guys want to know about clutches? So, I'm actually not, well, you know what? For you guys, I will. I'm going to pause it and I'll be right back. For clutches, this is what we're putting on. This is a P85 secondary, or just a Polaris secondary. It's before the rollers, so it's just a button slide. This is a P85 primary. I was going to put Comets on here, or a Comet primary, and just leave the secondary. But man, I'm horrible at keeping myself from doing things. So I convinced myself that I needed to get these, and I'm very happy I did. Got to do some modifications to the jack shaft. I need to cut it about a ½ inch shorter and then put a keyway in it. I think I can do it. I have a lead on another one if I fail. So, you know the confidence is high when you already have the plan for the backup. But one of the biggest reasons for doing this is the tunability of a primary. Polaris primaries were one of the best made, and so were the secondaries. There's a great tuning handbook called the AEEN Tuning Handbook, and it covers every single thing you need to do, and I printed all the pages off. I bought it, printed all the pages off, and then I have the book as well. But I've been making notes, taking notes, reading, and I think I've read it 4 times now, trying to figure out everything about it, and I still know nothing. But another big thing is this has overdrive, because it's the Polaris primary. It's a little bit bigger than all the factory ones that came from other brands, so it has overdrive, which is super nice. Not really much for racing, but just for riding. I'm not going to be riding this thing much, but I'm going to be racing it a lot. Anyways, they're just better clutches in all ways. This is pretty disassembled, is why it's sitting like this. You can see the plates coming off of it on the bottom. But, yeah, they're also a lot more affordable than Comet clutches. That's the last thing I'll say about the clutches. I think that's... Oh! Okay, actually, there's a couple things. The suspension. If you know anything about Kawasaki's, you'll probably notice nothing different. The 77s, or the 78s, excuse me, is a 78. They were manufactured in 77. They didn't come with an limiter strap. And this is something that you need to be able to tune the suspension travel, the suspension load travel of these old sleds. This is obviously not the best suspension to have under here. I actually do have the Polaris Indy suspension back here that will eventually go on the sled, because it is a much better suspension. It saves about 15 pounds, and so I think it's worth it, but not this year. I'm going to be using what's on here this year. So that suspension never came with the limiter strap, and so I put one on. I will see if it works. It's kind of experimental. I mean, a lot of things on this sled are experimental, such as the brakes. Up here, there's no steering shafts or steering spindles, and that's because I'm having them custom machined. The factory ones came with slop, and I don't like that. I want the tightest fit possible, so I'm having everything machined by the same guy that's doing the heads on that, just because I want them to be... I want it to be perfect, and I'm striving for perfection, so that if I miss a little bit, I still got the best sled out there. This will be racing in stock and super stock. You might be like, stock? How is it possibly stock? I've literally maxed out everything on the stock list. So, and then it should be pretty competitive in super stock. The only thing that super stock really has on me is they can do intake mods, or not, they can do exhaust mods, and not intake mods. They can't do intake mods. And then also they can put unfactory skis on here. I still have to run the factory skis. But maybe next year I'll do a super stock build and make this just purely super stock. Maybe I'll go mod one day. Last thing I'll say, and then I'll leave you guys for the night. I know this is a long video. It'll be about a 19-minute video. This right here is not factory. It had the pop-up headlight. And I love that pop-up headlight. That's my favorite thing. But unfortunately, it's about 15 pounds. Like, not even joking with you. So, it's not quite worth it. I did the math a long time ago. Here, I'll throw a screenshot up on the screen right now, and I'll show you what it looks like, or what all the math calculates out to if you were to take the weight I did off of a car. Obviously, it doesn't apply, but that screenshot right there demonstrates why I did it. Besides that, I think that's all the updates on the sled. Everything's about to start happening, so yeah, there's going to be definitely a video on it running here pretty soon. I had it running and I never took a video. I don't know why, but I'm running out of time, so I'm going to say goodnight to you. I got a lot coming. I got about a 700, a $400 order coming in the mail, hopefully any day now, with everything else. So with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Keep a lookout, subscribe so you can see what comes next, and have a good night.